Welcome back. After the break, the Maharashtra political fiasco just continues and it is getting bigger. The Supreme Court is set to hear two pleas filed by the Eknath Shinde camp of the Shiv Sena challenging the disqualification notices issued against 16 rebel lawmakers who switched sides. Remember, this happened last month during that decisive switch when Eknath Shinde became Chief Minister. The court will also hear the pleas filed by the Uddhav camp challenging the appointment of Eknath Shinde as the Chief Minister of the state. The Uddhav camp has also urged the apex court to declare the special session assembly as unconstitutional. This was the same session where the floor test was conducted last month and the MBA government was thrown out of power. Meanwhile, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has confirmed the appointment of Rahul Shewale as the leader of the parliamentary party of Shiv Sena. Joining us is Ananya Bhatnagar.
महाराष्ट्र में शिवसेना भाजपा का सरकार स्थापित हुआ। हमारे हिंदू हृदय सम्राट बाला साहेब ठाकरे जी के विचार लेकर हम लोगों ने ये सरकार स्थापित किया है भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ शिवसेना भाजपा का। हमारी सरकार जो है उसे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय जी, गृह मंत्री महोदय जी और केंद्र सरकार का पूरी तरह समर्थन प्राप्त है। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी कहा है कि राज्य के विकास के लिए आप जो भी कदम उठाओगे, जो भी प्रकल्प आप आगे ले जाना चाहते हो, उसे पूरी तरह हम लोग समर्थन देंगे।
Now going across to our legal correspondent Ananya Bhatnagar. Very good morning to you, Ananya. Today is the day the Supreme Court will be hearing those very crucial pleas because as we predicted, the Shinde camp and the Uddhav camp will be taking the legal route. Now, who has the advantage here? Because during the last hearing, the court had said that they are not going to take away the powers of the governor. So now, if they were to perhaps overrule that floor test or to declare that constitutional assembly as unlawful, then it would become a huge political point because that would mean the chief minister would no longer be valid as Eknath Shinde, and perhaps the court would not take that step because earlier they said they won't be overstepping the powers of the governor.
Well, yes, very good morning to you and our viewers, Shilpa, first of all. And now, the matter is now again before the topmost court of the country, while the Shinde camp says that they are correctly chosen, they had the numbers, they had won the floor test, and now, in fact, the Uddhav camp, on the other hand, says that the 16 MLAs are disqualified and their votes cannot be counted, and hence the government does not sustain, the special session of the assembly does not sustain. But anyway, floor test is considered as the litmus test of democracy, and hence Eknath Shinde camp somewhere or the other has a clear advantage over the Uddhav camp. Apart from that, it is the real question is who is the real Shiv Sena now. So that is what is the Supreme Court would be deciding. Apart from that, what we also know is that the Maharashtra Secretariat, the Secretariat of Maharashtra has given out an affidavit before the topmost court of the country, which we had played out first for our viewers, wherein it has been said that the new speaker that has been elected is completely in its power to decide these disqualification applications, and hence the older speaker, the deputy speaker's powers are not at all necessary to be revoked or reinstated. And in fact, the Supreme Court, when it was hearing the matter during the floor test or after that also, was of a very clear question as to how can the deputy speaker be the judge of his own cause? How can he in fact turn down a no confidence motion against him, merely saying that the mail was received from an unverified source? So these are the questions that the Supreme Court would be asking. The Supreme Court would also be asking that if these MLAs disqualification proceedings have been initiated against these MLAs, what is their locus at this point of time, whether they can vote, whether they cannot vote, and whether their vote could be counted or not. But it would be a very, very fierce battle. Definitely the last limb that Uddhav Thackeray camp is holding in order to save their government in Maharashtra. So we'll have to wait and watch as to whether the Eknath government sustains or the MVA come back to power. Shilpa.
Well, yes, a very flimsy chance there for the Uddhav Thackeray camp, looking at the proceedings that have been taking course in the Supreme Court so far. I'm taking this across to Siddhant Mishra, in fact. Siddhant, in a relief to Shiv Sena MLAs of the Uddhav faction, the Supreme Court had asked newly elected Maharashtra Assembly Speaker Rahul Narvekar not to proceed with the plea seeking their disqualification that was sought by the Shinde camp on the ground of defying the party whip during the trust vote and the election of the speaker. You know, I feel this was one of the few times the court did give relief to the Uddhav faction. But on June 27th, the Supreme Court issued notice to Deputy Speaker seeking his reply on the plea filed by Eknath Shinde camp against his disqualification notices. So I haven't noted much relief coming Uddhav's way, except this one time when the Supreme Court had, asked them to not proceed with that petition asking for the disqualification of people who voted against the party whip. How can we expect things to play out now? Because as Ananya was pointing out, this really seems to be the last leg that Uddhav Thackeray is standing on, that perhaps it will be in courts where he will find justice and get an advantage.
Well, look, situation is not very easy for Uddhav Thackeray to sail through. He may think this way that Supreme Court, there could be a relief coming from Supreme Court. But as Ananya was highlighting, that in democracy, the number matters. And the numbers are clearly with Eknath Shinde and Devendra Fadnavis in Maharashtra. And this is perhaps the reason that even if, in fact, before this hearing also, they had filed multiple petitions asking for urgent hearing in the matter. But Supreme Court refused to give urgent hearing and kept matter for the hearing on 20th of July, that is today. So basically, in the last hearing, Supreme Court has asked both the parties to maintain status quo in the matter. Today, Supreme Court is going to hear the petitions that have been filed by Uddhav Thackeray camp and petition that was filed by Shinde camp. But Uddhav Thackeray camp petition is challenging the decision of the governor to call the house for the floor test. So that is a petition which has been filed by Uddhav Thackeray camp, and there are other petitions as well. Now, it would be interesting to see that whether Supreme Court grants any relief to Uddhav Thackeray camp, because at that point in time, on 27th June, when hearing took place in Supreme Court, this issue was raised that whether decision would be infructuous or not. So to which Supreme Court said that it is infructuous. If tomorrow if people have voted and Supreme Court finds that the disqualification should take place, then in that case the entire process is not infructuous. It can be reversed. So that was also one argument which was given by the Supreme Court then. So it would be interesting to see what happens in Supreme Court. Multiple petitions are before the court, and we've been told that at around 11 a.m. the hearing will begin.
You know, that's interesting that you say that, Siddhant, because so many legal experts, even those on Shinde's camp, believe it would be rendered infructuous once there's a floor test and there is a decision. But no, the Uddhav camp not giving up. Going across to Mihir Trivedi with more on this. Mihir, even if the Uddhav camp manages to get some relief at the Supreme Court, I don't know in what effect they could, considering that looks very difficult now. The numbers are definitely dwindling on his side in a very embarrassing manner. Yesterday, 12 MPs again seen meeting with Eknath Shinde. Why is Uddhav carrying on this legal battle? At the end of the day, even Sanjay Raut has asked for a presidential rule. Surely, even the people who supported him among the Maharashtra citizens, anger must be mounting.
Absolutely. As far as the Shiv Sena led by Uddhav Thackeray, it is not only a matter of proving their point either in the Lok Sabha or the Assembly, calling out this government and saying that certain things that have happened, the manner in which the government was formed was illegal according to them. It is also a matter of saving the Sena. Remember, we've seen a vertical divide within the Sena. After over 50 MLAs, now we are seeing 12 MPs siding with Eknath Shinde, and that is a matter of concern because now the battle will be about who is the real Sena, and Uddhav Thackeray has maintained his is the real Sena, but the numbers are not by his side. Many of his close loyalists have switched over to Eknath Shinde's camp, and there is a reason behind it. Many say that it is that growing resentment against the top leadership of the Shiv Sena when they really gave up that Hindutva agenda and sided with an unnatural alliance. Now, these all issues have really, caused this vertical divide within the Shiv Sena, and it is a challenge for the Shiv Sena to really save the party in many ways. We can see many of the top leaders are now siding with Eknath Shinde, and that will result into the fact that they will have to prove and save that Sena symbol, which is of prime importance to the Shiv Sena. That is the battle, and that's why there are several, court legalities also involved now. If Uddhav Thackeray really doesn't act accordingly, then there will be a problem, and that's why we are seeing a lot of activity from Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena as far as the court is also concerned. We have seen multiple petitions where they are not only challenging the two sessions conducted by the governor, where the appointment of the speaker and the majority on the floor was proved by Eknath Shinde camp, but also several decisions made by the speaker is also challenged because that is the only point that will help Uddhav Thackeray to, in a sense, ensure that he keeps his party, whatever is left, intact, and that is a big challenge at this point we are seeing, Shilpa.
Indeed, and it will all play out in court today, so we will find out what gets decided. Now, moving on to another